Today we're going to make kids' homemade macaroni and cheese, and we're also going to make it for one person. This way, if you're making macaroni and cheese with ingredients that your kids may not like, you can still make it the way you want to eat it, but then your kids will have a serving that they like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small pot for this and a small spoon because Seth is going to make it himself.
Seth the chef. Thank you.
Seth the chef. So Seth the chef is going to make it himself. And what we have here is we have about a 1/4 cup of shredded cheese, about a little bit more than a 1/3 cup of half and half, and I'm going to add just a little water so it's not so thick. We're also going to add about a tablespoon of butter, some garlic powder, some salt. We have a mini baker here so that we can bake it and get that delicious baked mac and cheese taste. And then what do we have here, Seth?
As you can notice, we boiled the noodles to get a little extra flavor. That's what we want to start off with. Sorry we didn't show you that we boiled them.
Yeah, we boiled them first. That way they're not dry noodles. They're already boiled. So when you take and boil your noodles for your grown-up size, just partition a little bit off for your kids and put them in an extra container so they can dump them in when the time is right.
I need to show that.
So we're going to go ahead and start by getting the oven warmed up and get that butter melting.
Yeah.
So we're adding also flour. And why is that?
Because it makes the sauce more flavorful and more sweet, and that's what children like.
Okay.
Because I am a child.
Because he's a child. So we're going to add a bit of that flour, and it's also going to thicken what we call the bechamel, which is the sauce we use to make the cheese sauce for the mac and cheese.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay.
So now
we're going to add the butter.
Now he's adding butter. That's the first thing.
Automatically, you're going to see the butter kind of melt already, kind of sizzle and stuff.
Yes, you are. And then you're going to go ahead and add some salt.
You want to stir around a couple times.
2 shakes of the salt.
You just need 2 shakes of salt.
Just 2. There you go.
Okay, next we need the garlic.
2 shakes, 2 healthy shakes of that. Trust me, you won't taste it. There you go. You won't taste it. Kids are afraid of things like garlic powder, but they don't realize 99% of things they eat have it in there, including goldfish crackers and Cheez-Its. Alright, so stir that around a little bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's alright.
I'm a good chef and I forget.
Well, no, I forget to stir too. So you see how that butter's melted? Once that butter is totally melted, can you see it?
It's still a little bit not melted yet.
There you go, totally melted. Add the flour.
That's pretty quick, right?
Do you remember what the sauce is called that we're making?
What?
It's bechamel sauce. Every mac and cheese has a bechamel sauce.
That's correct.
Keep adding. Stir it as you add it too, because you want to, there you go. You want to get it real mixed in there, perfectly mixed in.
And make sure it's so mixed in, it's going to have that thick
I'm going to add a little bit more. You keep stirring. I'll add, there you go.
It's going to be a little bit tough because
you got a little bit of stuff right there. There you go. Get it all mixed in.
Without mixing it all in.
Now that it's mixed, you're going to add the milk. And how much milk do we have? Can you tell?
It is a little bit above 1/3.
1/3? There you go.
This one,
you take over.
This will add a really thick taste where you want that little thick. Now it's going to look a little bit lighter and a little bit nasty, but we haven't gotten to
the good part yet, so it's okay. Alright, so we're gonna stir this for a little while longer, and once it heats up, we'll go to the next step, and then you can join us back there.
Oops, actually I forgot we needed water.
Yep, we need to add.
I'm thickening the taste a little bit, because you know how cheese is very, very thick. It's got that thick taste, and you feel like you got your throat clogged and all that. Well, if you add that little bit of water, you'll get less of the thick.
Yeah, long story short, it won't be so thick, and you won't have to feel like you're eating something super rich. So it's important to add about a shot glass worth of water into your single serving size and stir it around.
You don't need our type of cup. You can use any cup. You don't need the same amount as us. If you think that the cheese is too thick, you can add as much as you feel like it's right.
That's right. Now, do you want to add the cheese? Now we can go ahead and add that cheese in, and you want to let it melt in there.
While stirring it, you want to stir it in.
Stir it in. Stir very gently, because cheese can make a big mess.
It already looks like a macaroni and cheese, kind of like the noodles and stuff.
Yeah, it does. It looks just like mac and cheese. So we're going to stir that until it melts, and then we'll be back to add those noodles. Alright.
Next we add the noodles.
See how he stirred everything in there?
Oops.
There you go.
You might make a mess when you come to this.
A little mess is okay. We're ready for a little mess. So we're adding a bunch of noodles, probably about a cup.
Now, you might be thinking, it looks like meat and cheese, and it's still delicious.
Let's move it back onto the surface.
Now, it's looking delicious now, but once you put it in the oven, it's going to be amazing.
Alright, so we're going to pause it so that we can pour it into our dish here, because we're going to put it in the oven. But before we do, we have a little surprise. Seth, why don't you explain what you're going to put on top of that before we bake it?
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't show this. This is my favorite part. I smashed goldfish. So now, no green, okay? That makes it look gross. And
No green goldfish, just regular goldfish.
So, now we are going to dump it very carefully. If you want to sprinkle it with your hands, that works.
Yeah, you can get a little handsy with it if you'd like, but why do we put a topping on the mac and cheese before we bake it?
Because if you don't get it on right, it'll taste dry, and you don't like dry, right?
Right, dry won't be good. You like it cheesy. You want to just use your finger to spread it out a little bit?
Or we could use our...
Well...
You can use your spoon.
Fingers are more fun, though.
Finger touches. Careful.
You're a kid. Be a kid.
There you go. Burns.
It won't burn you. Just make sure it's not too hot. There you go. Alright, so now we're going to put it in the oven for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'll be ready to eat.
And then we're going to show me eating it. If I don't eat it in 10 minutes, I'm going to be like...
And that is how you make kid-friendly mac and cheese for one.